Today's proverb is Proverb 18:1. You want to read it?
Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. Read it again. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. This proverb actually could not be a more relevant proverb for today's society as we see isolation. Is that a significant issue? They actually dub it as an epidemic with the amount of people that struggle with isolation today. And Gallup did this poll, and we'll get into more of this in the full episode, but approximately 25% of men aged 15 to 35 report feelings of loneliness daily. 22% of men, this one got me, 22% of men claim to have no close friends around them. 1 in 4 does not feel like they have a close friend. And then 40% of men experience feelings of loneliness at least once a week. And again, like I said, we're going to unpack more of that in the major episode. But, at the time this was written, so we look at ancient Israel. And society in ancient Israelite society actually was extremely dependent upon community. They held it at extremely high value for a couple of purposes. Number one, it's the family's job was they were farmers. So their job as a family unit was to farm so they could provide food. It was also for protection against invaders. And so for them, community was part of everyday normal life. They also looked at wisdom as a divine thing that came from God because of their connection to God. And so for them, seeking out wisdom was also extremely important to this. And so when we read this in the Hebrew language, there's 2 words that I pulled out of this. So when they look at the word isolate, it's this Hebrew word, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong, but it's yibeded, which suggests someone who intentionally withdraws from the community, possibly out of pride, stubbornness, or refusal to listen to the wisdom of others. Then the second part we see in there, it uses this term break out, and it's this Hebrew word yagala, which is a deliberate or forceful rejection of wisdom. And so as I considered this, it's very easy when you read a proverb like this to read it and then think to yourself, that sounds foolish. But then as I consider my own life, much of my life was spent pulling away from the wisdom of others because I didn't want to hear it. I remember multiple times my dad wanting to sit down and just have man-to-man conversations with me. And rather than engage, I had a period of time where I just didn't want to see my parents. I didn't want to listen to my parents.
Was your father, we've talked about this in the past in some of the episodes. Was that when your father was around?
This is my father is around now. So when I was
Did you feel resentment towards him maybe a bit for some of the other stuff? It's like, oh, now you're trying to talk to me, guy?
Yes and no.
Okay.
My dad and I had already reconnected, so I was working for my dad at this point in time. Okay. But I was still wanting to live a different lifestyle. And so consequently, I always lived my life on an island, and I kept myself in this cyclical pattern, like recycled pattern over and over and over again, because I never wanted to just step in and hear the wisdom of others. And the crazy part of it, like my dad's desire was because he loved me and he wanted what's best for me. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time in my foolishness of the age I was in, and more importantly, the people that I had surrounded myself with, I was more in tune to what they were telling me about how life should be and how fun life would be and the mistakes that I was making, the choices I'm making. There's this old saying that misery loves company. Mm-hmm. And for a very long period of my life, I found myself stuck in that pattern. And so reading through this, it's just this firm reminder to me about the necessity of having people around me and people in my life that I'm giving freedom to speak into my life so that when they see me going down a path that I shouldn't be going down or making choices I shouldn't be making, they step in and they're like, stop.
Right.
And I think it's very important that you always have people around you that you give that freedom to be able to speak into your life like that.
I think that first part of your story, you're talking about people in that time. So we're talking about 3,000 years ago, 3,500 years ago, something like that. And yeah, these are shepherds and they're farmers, for the most part.
Yeah.
There's cities also, and there's then city work and life. But yeah.
But I'm sure a lot of the city life was them bringing
their goods into town and selling their goods.
Yeah.
Purpose driven is what I'm thinking. And I think that's what we lack a lot now is purpose. Like, what is my purpose? So you can find yourself kind of idle, not knowing what to do, confused by what your next step should be. And, Satan's greatest weapon is isolation. That's where he wants you. He wants you thinking you're the only one that's ever had that thought, that's ever done that thing, that's ever committed that act, And then he condemns you down in that place. He says, nobody else would want to be around you because of this, because of that. And he holds you down there the best he can because that place is despair.
Yeah.
And you talked about it. It's what I wrote down. So I'm going to read it again. Proverbs 18:1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. And you said self-centeredness. And there is that too. You might not have gotten yourself into isolation by self-centeredness, but it can keep you there.
Yeah.
And it can keep you there because even, I think of myself with my alcoholism. And boy, I couldn't let anyone in, I thought. I couldn't let anyone know because if they seen how much I was drinking and how frequently, and the thing was everybody else knew.
That's the crazy part, right?
Yeah. I lived with a woman at the time. She clearly knew I'd wake up at 2 a.m. and take a shot of vodka and go lay back down. How could she not? Right? You hear me get up and then I come back and lay down and breathing and it's just probably a whole cloud of alcohol stink around me all the time, by the way.
Just coming out the pores of your skin.
But I wouldn't, if she was to ask me about it, I'd go, what are you talking about? No. I'd make up some lie, I'm sure, which would then further isolate me and make me feel alone inside of myself and would keep our connection from ever being a real, valid and deep connection. And again, that is where Satan wanted me. That's where the enemy wanted me. Let's put it that way. Because it makes me vulnerable to lashing out at others when they do try to talk to me. So that might have been maybe a thing you've seen too. It's when you are in that isolation, in your self-centeredness, because this is my thing. In my alcoholism, there's this weird power or something in it too, where I'm I don't want anybody else to know because then they'll want to take this. And this is my thing. And I'm comfortable here, even though I'm very uncomfortable and I feel sick half the time and I'm dependent on this. And I'm always worried if I'm going to have enough of this, and with Dave talked about that in our recent interview with him, where he said he had a gallon bag of pills. And I could so remember if I owned a warehouse full of liquor, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Why? Because at some point in time, even that warehouse would wear out. Yeah, sure, 10 years down the road, but I'd already be thinking about it that day, the day somebody bequeathed me. And it's back in the day, I couldn't tell anybody those kind of thoughts. So it's this sneakiness and this, and then it becomes darker and more caved in the longer that you don't share, the more inside of yourself you become and the more dark, I think. So he breaks out against all sound judgment. That's what I'm saying. Anytime somebody tried to intervene on it, I would be you do it too. I've seen you do blah, 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 whatever it was. And I'd harbor all these things. I'd pick your faults and I'd hang on to it and then wait for you to challenge me and I'd throw it back at you. And that's you just trying to be hey man, I care about you. And I see you in a place that's awful and I don't want you there. And I'd have friends like that. One of my great friends, Kyle, we spoke about him a bunch of times. He was in our band. He showed up one morning and he was actually a change agent for me. He actually challenged me. He did it in a kind way where he just kind of laid it out. And he showed up so early. It was 7 a.m. He shows up at my house to say, I'm worried about you. And it seems like you drink a lot. Have you been drinking today? And in that moment, he caught me so off guard that I shared with him. And it was and he didn't go, I knew it, which is what I always anticipated him then wanting to condemn me for it. But because that's what the evil one always does. But instead he was gosh, I want to help you. How can I be helpful? I'll come with you to a place. If you want to go to a place, I'll come with you to a program. If you want to go to a program, whatever. And he was willing to be there. And he did, of course, because he's a great guy. So that's what it's going to take. If you want to be the opposite of this, it's going to take being honest to break free from this isolation, I think.
Yeah.
You have to find a place, a person, a time. And the thing is I think those opportunities come up and I think I'd rejected them a bunch of times. And I've told those stories before. But it was that day, finally just getting honest with him, which was me being honest with myself too, that finally gave me the opportunity to and it was a relief.
Yeah. That's the crazy part about it. Is you stay stuck in that pattern thinking that this is how life is supposed to be. And then once you're outside of that pattern, you go, what did I hold on to that thing so long for?
Whoa.
Two things you said there that really, really struck me. Number one, early on, you said it's the self-centeredness. It never starts there.
No, it doesn't.
You don't go walking down that path thinking,
me.
You walk down that path because of something broken or something wrong. Right. And if you don't have Christ, then I'm going to run to something in the world that's there to fix this broken thing inside of me.
Mm-hmm. Then, or at least help me to not focus on it so much.
Right. Well, that's right. I think that's what it is more
it's
than
the masking
it's the
of
numbing.
the thing. Yeah.
And then how exhausting it must be to always be looking at life through the lens of what am I seeing that everybody else is doing wrong so that I can feel better about myself and create justifications for us. How exhausting that is.
And how can I even have good relationships if that's all I'm collecting? I'm not collecting joy from our friendship. I'm not collecting wisdom from our friendship. It's not an iron sharpening iron. It's me
it's a scoreboard.
It's calculative.
Yeah.
I'm always calculating your missteps so that I can use them against you so you don't call me out on mine.
And then you're at such a dark place that you're so broken that you don't even know where to turn anymore. And so now you're taking a step back and looking at what's behind you and just this pathway of these small choices that you made along the way to get to where you are there. We talk about that a lot in here. You didn't go from having a drink at a party to a full-blown alcoholic. These are little steps that you took along the way.
Yep.
And because you isolated yourself, then there was never anybody there to be able to be like, hey, man, let me pull you back in.
Well, because I never was honest with anybody, which is isolation as well.
I think that's how isolation starts is
there you go.
Not being honest to anybody or not feeling like you have anybody you can be honest with.
There it is.
You don't have anybody safe in your life that you can share that with. And so when we look at this concept of breaking out, it's I'm breaking out meaning that I'm deliberately rejecting wisdom.
Yep.
It's just because I don't want to hear what you have to say.
And I don't want to change, and I don't want to give up this thing. I think I need it.
Mm-hmm. So, when we were talking before we started about, you went to AA and you were sober for 3 months, and then you started drinking again.
Yep.
And we talked about how it's because you removed something, but you didn't fill it back in with something.
Correct.
And because you didn't fill it back in with something, then the next progressive step there would be, well, I'm still a miserable person without it. So since I'm still miserable, I might as well go back to the thing that numbed the misery.
Right. I only removed the mask. Yeah. I didn't work on the inner pain.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it, man.
Friends, Proverbs 18:1. Whoever isolates himself seeks his own desire. He breaks out against all sound judgment. Are you rejecting anything? Is there anything you've dealt with in the past that you've had success with? Let us know. Hit us up. You can get a hold of us at updpodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach us on any of our platforms. We're on Instagram, YouTube. Leave us a message. Tell us what you think, what your comment is, a struggle you've had, or something that maybe has affected you that you found victory in. We see people then interacting with those comments later and going, hey, I found victory there too, or I'm going to try that thing. So please don't hesitate to comment and let people know about your struggle. There's power in that.
Yes, there is, man. It's creating a community.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Guys, thanks for joining us. We'll chat with you real soon. Check us out, full episode Thursday.